we have a critical panel discussion highlighting the innovations in digital banking driving fintech growth. And of course, to start with, we would like to welcome the moderator again on stage, Dr. Maya Al-Hajj. And now, as we will call upon the panelists for this panel, starting with the Chief Operating Officer from Aljazira Capital, Ali Alqaraawi. And the Head of Digital Factory, Jeel, Ahmed Aledreessi. The Product Growth Manager of KnowledgeNet, Karim, Mostafa. And now we'll be heading over to our moderator, Dr. Maya.
Thank you again for having me, everybody. I want to start with some research, some words I need to actually, it was amazing for me to discover. The transformation is significant, and the involvement is not a doubt, is there. There is 3 times faster the innovation and the transactions through the fintechs and the digital banking from the regular banks right now. In the Saudi Vision 2030, there is 3 pillars of the strategy: the enablement of the financial institution, the ensuring of the formation of the advancement of capital market, and the promoting and enabling of financing planning. Those are the 3 pillars of the Vision 2030. Now we are seeing 73% of the world transaction or inter-transaction with banks are taking place through digital channels. And those are the points that I wanted to discuss with my panelists. I will be starting with Mr. Ahmed, asking him about the real impact of digital banking on traditional banking now. Thank you for coming and thank you for inspiring us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. To start with, I don't believe we have traditional banks anymore in Saudi Arabia. Traditional banks has evolved to digital banks in one way or another. And the ones who did not evolve yet are doing a good job of masking their traditional services in front of exceptional customer experience and digital channels offerings. Now, the impact of digital banking in Saudi Arabia, I believe it's from a competition perspective, where they provided access to use cases and applications that traditional banks were not looking after necessarily in the meantime. At least that was 10 years ago, maybe. And then with the introduction of neobanks and having had access to modern applications, modern systems, it's also enabled traditional banks who are in the transformation phase over the past years to have modern applications that are fit to serve digital banking offerings as well.
So in other words, you're saying that the impact is to support the digital banks, not actually the competition between them.
Yeah, I think if you look at the definition of traditional banking, to me it's digital banking nowadays, right? So you don't have brick and mortar banks only, and the traditional banks today, in that common sense, is actually a leading digital banks in Saudi Arabia. So they are competing head to head, and they are completing one another and offering services and giving options to customers.
So they're complementing each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Ali, I wanted to ask you describe the relationship between being a capital bank, between SAMA and CMA. What can you tell us about it?
Generally speaking, the relationship between central banks and capital market authorities collaborative and complementary, focusing on maintaining financial stability, promoting efficient market, and ensure sound financial regulations. There are so many examples of the collaboration between both entities. For example, like in information sharing, monitor the financial condition and emerging risk, also in crisis management and in implementing measures that ensure market stability and restore confidence. Also in regulatory coordination to align regulations, and especially when financial institutions or product operate across banks and capital market. Another wonderful example in Saudi Arabia in 2018, and in collaboration between the Saudi Central Bank and the Capital Market Authority, an initiative called Saudi Fintech was launched with an aim to support the development of fintech industry in Saudi Arabia. And so far we have more than 200 fintech companies have emerged, licensed by both SAMA, or the central bank, and CMA in areas like equity crowdfundings, alternative funds or alternative product and real estate funds distribution, robo-advisory, algo trading, social trading, using of AI in advisory, and so on. Overall, the relationship between central bank and the capital market authority is integral to the effective functioning of the financial system, each playing distinct yet interconnected roles and fostering the I would say, the economic growth and stability.
Thank you so much. I was wondering about those intersections and verticals that are connecting between two, and you just gave us very good examples of that. Thank you. Karim, let me move to you and ask you about the tech innovation delivering the values in the KSA. What do you think about the tech innovation? How important is having tech development, and where do we start with that?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. And thanks for having me. I'm not sure how I'm going to answer this question with two bankers on the panel who are already innovating in the market. One of them بيقول إن مفيش بنوك anymore, it's digital banks. ما شاء الله عليكم يعني. To help qualify my answer, I just want to take a step back on what we do as KnowledgeNet, rather than talking about the company, like talk about an actual use case where we helped the judicial system in the Saudi market. Any judge in the Saudi market, if they want to make a financial inquiry, if I'm involved in a legal case and a judge wants to inquire about my accounts, balances, etc., they can do that through a tablet screen in 25 seconds. And that's only available in Saudi. And I'm very proud of the fact that this was built here in the Ulayya district. The development team was right here, working with our partner. That's financial innovation, right? Where a judge in a courtroom, 25 seconds exactly, can access information like all my bank accounts, freeze my bank accounts, move money from one account to the other, right? On top of the fact that we're very proud that we work with our partner in developing this product, I think this is the core concept of financial innovation, where a judge is not a financial institute, right? So being able to give that instrument of data brokerage, integration, and seamless experience where it takes in the US 90 days to make that financial inquiry. In Egypt, where I come from, it's minimum a year, right? To make the same financial inquiry. Saudi was able to do it in 25, right? because we gave the underbanked access to banking innovation, right? And I think that at the essence, this is predominantly the financial innovation that the market is moving towards. And I think Saudi is positioned in a space and place where, with Vision 2030, and what are the bankers doing right now, whether in capital, banking, etc., I think that the market is positioned where we are going to see faceless banks, where we will see things like non-banking institutes offering financial products. We've seen early implementations or early trials, like for example, the mobile remittance services, the mobile e-wallet remittance service that was launched a few years ago. Under the hood, it's a bank, right? And as an e-wallet provider, they were able to expose that. One of our customers, for example, EMBE Capital, is providing an investment tech fintech whose sole job is to give insight into the market, is providing them with the ability to offer their customers brokerage services, right? So being able to provide non-financial institutes with financial products and services that they can distribute, especially, mashallah, in the case of the kingdom, across a vast geography, or even cross-border. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we've all seen what happened with the recent Aramco stocks that were offered to the market.
Yes.
And mashallah, they were consumed like a fat pig going through cake. In no time, they were all taken out. So imagine if the Saudi market decides, you know what, let's expand our cross-border, Sharia-compliant assets that can be exposed cross-border. So I think in terms of innovation, it's all about embedding your product through others, collaborating, and being able to offer your service and products through other channels and into remote geographies that you were not able to reach before.
Exactly.
And we have the technology to do it nowadays, alhamdulillah.
That's great. You just introduced my second question, actually. Talking about introducing and collaborating with other technology and being able to offer your solution to other technology providers or banks. I want to ask Ahmed, actually, being in how do you acquire maybe or strategize with other banks, being in your bank and having your fintech in the real bank? How do you do that with other banks? How do you integrate? Is there any technology challenges also, or other challenges you want to talk to us about?
Well, just to start with, Jeel is not a fintech, at least not yet.
It is
It is a digital services company, right? That is subsidized by Riyadh Bank, owned by Riyadh Bank. However, it's mandated to work with Riyadh Bank only, and also not mandated to work with
you
banks.
You are not mandated to
We collaborate with Riyadh Bank. Of course, our strength is having the access and the resources to Riyadh Bank, whether it's in the human capital or technical or regulatory access to compliance. That will help us accelerate our engagements with non-banks or companies who would like to enter the financial ecosystem, right? And this goes back to your point exactly. So it's a good segue for sure, because embedded finance, augmented services, on-finance applications, so having a two-way connection between non-financial providers on financial applications, and of course having financial applications for non-financial providers is key to foster this relationship. So the strategy that we have is we don't just develop services for anyone. We try to co-create with entities, and so we discuss various engagements, not necessarily with banks. Of course, it's going to be a bit difficult having the legacy of Riyadh Bank with you. However, we do have collaborations with various banks on discussing opportunities of engagement. However, we're also discussing with government, semi-government providers on initiatives that will enable them to offer either financial services or obtain access to financial services through that ecosystem that we are with.
Thank you so much for clarifying. What is it for the customer, actually? Because we have the legacy of the banks, and they are serving for like maybe, I don't know, 100 years. what do you think the main issue or the main thing that a customer, a consumer, is looking to have in adopting a digital bank or a digital wallet or neobank, all of those?
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about first about the adoption of digital banking or digital investment banking by consumer and business. The adoption actually is fueled by various factors. First, the convenience and accessibility, where customers can access their financials or their finances, managing, performing financial transaction anywhere, anytime across multiple channels. Also, the reducing of the reliance, or reducing the reliance on physical branches and manual processes lower the operational cost for banks, and which lead to better rates, better fees for consumers and businesses. Also, another factor or driver is the rise of tech-savvy consumer or customers. This has increased the demand for digital banking to offer speed, efficiency, and convenience also. Another important factor is the personalization, where banks need to allow for tailored recommendation for customized financial advices and solutions that leverage the customer data and also preferences. Security is another crucial factor that investment banks taking care of through the use of advanced security systems and measure. Last but not least, and I might repeat what my colleague Ahmed mentioned, is the competitive landscape. The increasing adoption of digital banking by financial institutions create competitive pressure, motivating customers, businesses to embrace this technology, to stay relevant, to stay ahead of the intense competition going on. These are examples of the factor or the drivers that collectively contribute to the increasing adoption of digital banking and reshaping the financial landscape.
Thank you very much. It's very true that change is the only thing that is what we call it, constant. That we need to change the legacy of the banks or for improving the technology, all of that. But those are very interesting points why the adoption is taking place. Let me go back to Karim, asking him, what do you think that determines the win-win situation between banks, incumbent fintechs, and customers? What is the real win-win-win?
Well, in our experience, because we work with both FIs, in banking, insurance, and financing, and capital, with our software division, and we are also a technical incubator for different stage in the life cycle for a bunch of fintechs and investment, buy now, pay later, etc. So we kind of work with both. I think that the fact of the competitive nature of balancing between competition and partnership is where a win-win is created. Give you an example, one major challenge that we face with a couple of our customers in LFIs who work in the insurance domain is that they want to do it all as a mega organization. And they want to do it all. I mean, we all know it, and probably you've all seen it. The corporate want to engage in the collaboration with fintechs at their own terms. So they want to determine the product, they want to determine the distribution, the pricing, the policies associated with it, who's legally accountable and responsible. And I completely get the fact that it's a major corp with a huge list of investors behind it that are basically chasing it with a big stick, right? And a regulator. But at the same time, you cannot own it all. Because then we see things like, for example, what most recently happened with JP Morgan. Capital Division had to shut down its global advisory service Wise was a complete flop. Why? Because they decided, you know what, we're going to come up with our own robo-advisor, and we're going to spread it to the retail consumers, and we're going to acquire in the next 3 years 25% market share from the retail investment division, right? And market space in the US. They did nothing. In parallel, we have City Capital in the exact same time window, publishing a bunch of brokerage and capital APIs on its API marketplace for Far East fintechs who want to gain cheaper access to the US stock market through a local licensed broker. And they had 163% growth in transaction revenue just from that particular API group. So again, balancing between, are we competing with each other or are we basically collaborating? I think that that's in essence what will define the success, and for not necessarily the relationship between banks or financial institutes, large, incumbent, and fintechs, even with interacting with your own customer segment. We all know that SME financing in the Saudi market needs to move more aggressively and also has the potential to grow more aggressively, right? The question, for example, that we have for one of our customers is, who's going to build the integration hub to allow for micro and small medium enterprises to have a simple basic ERP embedded in their shop. يعني يا زلمه ده محل تموينات صغير يعني. It's not they're not going to buy or subscribe to Gidea يعني. It's a mom and pop shop. Yeah?
What you are saying, correct me if I am wrong, what you are saying, even if you can do it, like JP Morgan and all of those people, and you know, we have a lot of examples in Saudi even if you can do it, maybe it is better to seek like a professional or a technology provider. But are you saying this is the main reason that your example, JP Morgan, couldn't make it, and the American?
Well, if I know the answer, I will be an extremely rich man. That's
extremely rich.
for sure. Yeah. But but what I know, because part of what we do in KnowledgeNet is the market research, and based on the market research that we've done over the past 2.5 years, one, global success stories included part of the recipe of success, the collaboration. You don't own everything, you just own some of it, and you're happy to share the revenue, the responsibility, etc., etc. Yeah? And you're happy to put in the work. So Citigroup, for example, put in the work when it comes to building the API marketplace. One of our customers, Riyadh Bank, and the guys in Jeel, who I think are doing a fantastic job when it comes to, although we're competing in some level, fantastic job when it comes to opening up an API marketplace. I mean. And it's because of the fact that Riyadh Bank understands, as an incumbent bank, I'm not going to do it all. Let me give it over to a new company, a new blood, fresh pair of eyes, called Jeel, yeah? And they will lead the market when it comes to financial products and open finance and that space of collaboration, right? Yeah. So I personally think that this is the recipe for success we've seen in Citi. We've seen that done by DBS in India and Singapore. We've seen that fail locally when you try to own it all. And most, my personal experience, that's how judicial systems of العدل في المملكة managed to succeed in تنفيذ service. They didn't do it themselves, though they're وزارة العدل يعني. They did it partnering with SEMA,
yeah, but
Saudi payments,
that makes sense though. Yeah, thank you so much, Karim, for this insight. It's very important to know exactly, are you doing it yourself or giving it to another arm, partnering with the technology provider. There's like a lot of scenarios that can...
And to the panelists' earlier point, it reduces the financial pressure and the financial pressure of cost versus revenue.
That's very true. Now we move to another question, the role of emerging technology in blockchain, in AI, biometrics, digital, and KSA. It is really a new era, a new combat that we are seeing. Where do you see it actually, sir, in the KSA? How are we benefiting? I mean, the same question was asked in the previous panel. How are we benefiting from being at this time in this region?
Okay, to start with, I think emerging trends have been there for a while. We've seen them before. robotics and digital transformation. And you have probably, in my view, at least two categories of emerging trends. There are trends that evolved with time, and we've had the opportunity to evolve with them and learn and practice them in one way or another. AI, for example, is one, right? And then we have emerging trends that were completely new to us. They could have existed a long time ago, like blockchain, right? With Bitcoin, I think 9 years ago, 10 years ago, but we never had the opportunity to indulge in them and experience them with use case and applications. And so for the first one, it's straightforward. The impact is already realized by institutions like Riyadh Bank, for example, have been doing AI for quite some time, right? It's not generative AI or anything, it's not ChatGPT-like. However, the pressure to have ChatGPT-like and follow that trend also makes you jump into maybe POCs and implementations that may not benefit you with a proper use case that can serve the customers. So the fear of missing out will lead you to just jump into these emerging trends. And that's the case with completely emergent trends like blockchain, right? Where you just want to jump the wagon and implement something that is blockchain dependent, but you realize that you can do it with a relational database. So I think distributing or distinguishing between what you really need versus what the hype is important with these emerging trends. And also not abandoning trends that we acquired over the past years and just leave them and move on to the new trends. So you end up with like technical depth across various trends because you just want to catch out everything and offer value to your clients.
Very true. I mean, in the same question, I think I want to ask Mr. Ali, because you have another view on the same.
Okay, talking about the emerging technologies, they are playing a significant role, not only in transforming, but actually revolutionizing the investment banking landscape in Saudi Arabia. Investment banks like Aljazira Capital is experiencing a transformative journey as these emerging technologies and cutting-edge technologies advance and redefine traditional practices and also open new avenues for growth. For example, or what I'm going to start with is the emergence of Fintech. Fintech is a game changer in the world of investment bank, I would say, landscape. These solutions are for us automating processes, reducing risks, enhancing the speed and accuracy of financial transaction, which is very imperative to investment banking sectors in general. Investment bank like again Aljazira Capital is heavily and increasingly collaborating with these fintech startups and companies, leveraging their innovative technologies and staying ahead of customer also expectation and experience, especially in a competitive environment or landscape that we have in Saudi Arabia. And this is an invitation for everyone here that whomever have like a good business case that is adding value to the investment bank or to the capital market landscape in Saudi Arabia, please you are most welcome. To visit us, to I would say, explore collaboration opportunities with your esteemed company. Also talking about the emerging technologies, the use of AI and machine learning algorithms, which are empowering investment banks with data-driven insights that goes beyond the human capacity. These technologies for us analyze vast data sets, identify patterns, offer predictive analytics that in investment banks aid in risk management, in portfolio optimization, and market trend prediction. coupling human expertise and machine intelligence is crucial. It has become a defining factor in making any investment or informed investment decision. Also, talking about the blockchain, it has the potential to revolutionize how investment banks handle financial transaction and manage data, facilitating secure, transparent, and tamper-resistant transactions. Blockchain doesn't only streamline processes, it also enhances trust, reduce the risk of fraud. However, blockchain and distributed ledger technologies are still in early stages, where investment banks are exploring the incorporation of these technologies in areas like settlement, trade finance, and regulating compliance as examples. Also, one of the emerging technologies that we're investing heavily in is the cybersecurity systems and measures. This is very crucial to enhance the trust, to fortify the digital defense of financial institutions against cyber threat. These are examples of emerging technology. There are so many examples of them that drive the evolution of investment banking landscape in Saudi Arabia. And as our kingdom moves toward its Vision 2030 goals, the adoption of this emerging technology is expected to continue growing, to continue shaping the digital banking or the digital investment banking in the region.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful. So all the emerging technology that we are seeing developed around the world can be very much used to enhance our Saudi market adoption of those technologies, which is a great, great point. The only thing that you mentioned I wanted to ask about is you invited everybody who has a new technology or a new idea or use case to come and maybe introduce themselves. How important it is for us to take those newcomers in the early stage or in the already growing stage for you guys?
Okay, talking about this, I mean, again at Aljazira Capital, and I'm very positive that all of the investment banks are working on that. We have a kind of a dynamic strategy that revolve around embracing digital transformation and closely working with Fintech companies at different stages. We're always evaluating as technology advances, as Fintech companies emerge, whether locally or internationally. We're always evaluating and open doors to collaborate, to open avenue also with them for any kind of collaboration that will add value for both companies. We're not only doing this, actually we're also evaluating these companies for investments, and we have done in the past 2 or 3 years many investments and Fintech companies, whether a partial or full acquisition, in several areas like digital wealth management, planning, and saving, and also the robo-advisory, the algo trading, all are on the horizon. Blockchain, as I mentioned, we've been approached by several companies, yet we're experiencing some challenges around the regulation and so on. Yet the door are always open to discuss and explore the collaboration opportunities.
So encourage everybody who has a new and use case that wants to share to approach. Let me finish up with a question for Karim. What are the technical cheat sheet that a fintech needs to see and make sure that it's there?
I'm going to speak based on our experience as an incubator to a bunch of fintechs in UAE and Saudi. Again, if I know the answer, I would be a very rich man, but you're good.
Something is behind not being a millionaire, actually.
لا الحمد لله بس.
الرضا.
I think few things. One is just making sure that you are aligning your vision to the right vision and aligning your vision to the robust direction of the ecosystem you are working in. And alhamdulillah, in Mamlaka, there is Vision 2030, right? And if you're working in the financial sector, you know that part of the Vision 2030 is to bank the underbanked, not the unbanked, right? The people who do not want to use a card with a PIN number and worry about forgetting it, who basically make have a card booth in Kuwait, yeah? Those people, you really need to give them access to new financial services, and that's part of the Vision 2030, as an example. Make sure that you align your plan or vision or strategy, whatever you want to call it, to the ecosystem you're operating in. The ones we see that are doing a fantastic job are the ones that usually do, in our case, in our experience. So align your vision to the ecosystem's grand vision, and echoing my peers here, Ahmed and Ali, on the hype of new tech, right? Skip the hype. If the new concept or the new technology can contribute to the vision and you can quantify the value for it, as we did in the Wafiq or the Tanfiq service, it's 30 seconds from 1 quarter to 90 days to 30 seconds, reduction time in the financial requirement.
Yes.
If you can quantify the value of the new technology, it's definitely worth implementing. If not, definitely test and explore. There's no harm in testing and exploring. And I think that those are the two things that we see quite in common in the fintechs that we've worked with or invested in directly that have made it and succeeded in the market. Those are the two common themes, is aligning your vision to the ecosystem, and if you can quantify the value you're bringing to the market, you have something to work on. And you don't need to quantify it down to the 30-second example, you can have a good estimate. Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Another discussion I wanted to intrigue. If you want to talk about the complex financing, the mass wholesale, the BaaS system, Sir Ahmed, can you tell us about those new areas in the?
I think I can take on BaaS, having had my colleague Ghalib provide a session on APIs and open banking, and what we saw, of course, collaborating with Riyadh Bank and scanning the market, is the expectations from open banking of clients has enabled banks to open up services beyond open banking regulated services to other financial services, and as well, of course, non-financial services that could be provided by banks such as KYC. And I believe banking as a service in the context of embedded finance is a game changer. It would enable a lot of fintechs, a lot of non-financial providers to have quick, agile access to banking services and have different flavors of regulatory, let's say, requirements, where you can be fully regulated or going through a bank, through the bank as a service module. So I believe banking as a service is currently emerging. It has been in the market for a while globally, but now we're seeing that there are a lot of interest in the market, whether from technical service providers or from banks themselves to offer banking as service solutions.
Thank you so much. Anything, Sir Ahmed, Ali, you want to add on that? The newcomers, the new areas, like everyday banking, the investment advisory, the covered that.
Would be jealous. Ahmed working with Bank Riyadh, so doors are open for you, Ahmed, or to come over and we explore together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for our speakers. I think if you have any questions from the attendees, we will be open the speakers will be generous enough to answer everything, anything that you guys want to ask. Okay, so we don't have any questions. في حد؟ Okay, we're ready. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for our speakers and attendees. Thank you for all the information that we shared today.